Hello, 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 and welcome to week 2 of the ETS. I am, of course, Mark, aka Chibikawaii, and in the booth with me, I'll let him introduce himself. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. It's Counterbob here. Excited for another week of ETS.
Oh, I am too, and we have quite the match coming out of the gates. We have Bikespokes on Grenadin, and then we got a little tatavath on little TPS Temporal. Do you have any feelings for this matchup?
The darker version of Temporal is something interesting I haven't really seen. Usually I see the one featuring the green splash. Should be interesting, but I just love Grenadins. It's such a fun deck to watch be played. And this one's also featuring, look real quick, Flamestoker. That's a card. So that should be very interesting in this matchup. There's a lot of potential on both sides, as there's so much removal in the Temporal deck, but there's just threats upon threats coming from Grenadins.
That's definitely true. I am noticing, though, that the Temporal, so tatavath's decks, actually, he's got quite a bit of life gain. I'm looking at some crucifixion in here. And I'm also, and then some Xenon Augury, and then he's got the one Strain of Shadow with the 3 Celestial Elements, as well as you also get to pick up Banish by playing Shadow. I'm kind of with you though. I do question not having Justice in there for Harsh Rule, and like Vanquish and Eileen's Choice, but I'm really curious to see how this ends up playing out.
You do have Stray, and in this matchup, it can be very big, killing all the Grenadins, and they won't be able to come back because they'll be negative health.
Yeah,
but there's only one.
And I honestly kind of hope that we get to see Encroaching Darkness be played, because I have not seen that hit play yet, and that would make me happy.
You look at the top list, you see Encroaching Darkness, Temporal Distortion, and the last word. It's like, oh, all these cool cards. Oh, they're all in the same deck. Okay, that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting stuff.
It should be interesting. If there's any stumbles from the Temporal deck from tatavath, it could just spell an end for him though. He needs to hit his curve, be able to deal with everything, and it should be interesting. I'm very excited for this first matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, I'm definitely giving the edge to Grenadin, but maybe I'm wrong, because there are 4 Lightning Storm in the deck too. So
yes.
who's to tell? And we get to look at this from Bikespokes' perspective, so that'd be pretty interesting. Looking at Bikespokes' starting hand, not entirely sure if mulligans have been resolved or not. If they have been resolved, this is definitely not the hand you particularly want. But yeah, overall not bad. Looking over at tatavath's hand, not doing a ton either, but at least they have the strategize, right?
Yes, that's certainly true. The one thing with the Grenadin deck, there's a lot of cards that are dead, like Madness, Combust. So
very true.
Depends on which side of the deck he hits. He needs to hit the aggressive side rather than the reactive side. Yeah,
and we do see that the Bikespokes was able to mulligan into a much better hand, is able to play Grenadin Drone off of a turn 1 Fire Sigil, getting 2 units in play, passes the turn back to tatavath. Tatavath able to play Strategize on turn 2. Bikespokes going to go ahead and get in for 2 here, drawing Scrap Tank for the turn. Going to play a Banner, and we're going to see a Quarry come out of Bikespokes.
Yeah, hopefully it's something aggressive out of here. Most of the other cards are not going to come down until much later.
Ooh. And we see Sabotage come off that Quarry. Not a bad pickup. What do you think? Is it going after Scheme or Feeding Time or the Devastating Setback?
I agree with the Scheme choice. Oh no, he went with Setback.
Yeah, I'm actually fine with that too, because it clears up his board really, really well, right? And really neuters this Scrap Tank.
Yeah, I didn't see the Setback, but yeah, definitely getting rid of that. That would have negated any aggressive potential, especially now seeing the assembly line off the top.
Yeah, and we see the Scheme come out for tatavath, able to, and then just a pass back of the turn to Bikespokes. Bikespokes drawing a Sigil for the turn, getting in 2 points of damage, passing back to tatavath. Tatavath playing Strategize now. We're going to see what they're going to be putting on the bottom. It looks like they're going to go ahead and get rid of that feeding time. Pretty much agree with that choice. Passes back to Bikespokes. Bikespokes plays an assembly line. I think we're going to see a pass back to tatavath.
Yes, he does have that one stray of shadow into his hand, and he's got a decent life total. He could have held on to it, but decides to play it now.
Yeah.
He could have waited to maybe a scrap tank or something else comes down, but wanted to be cautious with his life total.
I think it's fine there, right? Because it's still a 2-for-1. Granted, they've gotten some damage in, and we do see Bikespokes picking up his 5th power. Unfortunately, it was a banner, so that's going to come into play depleted. Next turn, though, we're going to start seeing Scrap Tank come down. We'll Stone Scar Scrapper potentially. We should start seeing Bikespokes actually being able to do something with the 2 Gear Crunchers sitting in hand. Not the most playable hand for them. tatavath, go ahead and playing. Did I see an Omen there?
Yeah, he omened for Moondial, and this will put on the engine to just refill his hand with any sort of reaction he needs, especially with the small stumble by Bikespokes.
Yeah. Bikespokes drawing another sabotage for the turn, able to also fire off a torch, getting rid of the Aegis that tatavath had put on them. And now we're going to see this sabotage and what we're going to take. I have to imagine that's going to be the devastating setback again, or maybe the Wisdom of Elders. Nope, but I was wrong. Actually, just going to be the extract.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. You could get the Wisdom, but he does have the Moondial to draw cards anyway. Setback, I might have taken that over the extract.
So the reason for the extract is because he's going to play Scrap Tank here, right? And extract is a clean answer to that. Whereas devastating step pack, yes, it'll make it a 1/1, but then it's going to get +4/+4 from the other 2 Grenadins that would die.
Sure.
However, Death Strike getting into hand for tatavath, going to be able to take care of that Scrap Tank. We're going to see that Wisdom of Elders. tatavath going to draw 2 cards, sitting with Strategize, a couple Find the Ways, Last Word, a Moondial, and then, of course, that devastating sit back in hand. Bikespokes does know about the devastating sit back, and we see pass back to the Bikespokes playing Stone Scar Scrapper, pass back to tatavath, and tatavath just playing some power.
Yeah, having the setback being known kind of makes those 2 Gear Crunchers not that great in his hand. It's just going to kill everything they bring back and make them 1/2s, not very threatening for 7 cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and tatavath finding the spot removal exactly when they needed it, because when we had that Stone Scar Cruncher or Grinder, and then into that Gear Cruncher, that would have been a very big play, and that would have been quite a bit of loss of life or life gain for Bikespokes, just giving them a little bit more of a comfortable position.
Yes, having 2/1s is threatening at the life total. Trying to maybe fish out that setback, but he does have the Crucifixion played into Devour.
Yes, so the Devour comes out, and the 3rd Gear Cruncher is drawn, but also Flamestoker. Flamestoker seems like it's going to be not terrible here, at least until interesting to note, there are no disjunctions in tatavath's deck. So
that's one that, and also Evacuate card. Those are 2 notable cards missing from normal temporal decks. So that's interesting to note, and I think the Flamestoker is the key card in this matchup for Bikespokes.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be absolutely great, and we're already representing lethal for next turn. tatavath's going to have to do something pretty big here in order to pull this out.
Yeah, the game was way in tatavath's favor until that Flamestoker was drawn.
Yeah, and we see a Strategize come down from tatavath. tatavath digging for anything. Did find a Wisdom of Elders, and it looks like we're going to pass on the Wisdom of Elders. We're just going to go ahead and devastating setback here. That's going to leave 1 Grenadin on the field. Again, still lethal with the 5/5 Infernus that will be coming into play, not to mention the Torch that is in Bikespokes' hand. So here's the Wisdom of Elders coming down. I think I would have liked the Wisdom before the devastating setback. I don't know the deck list well enough to say whether that was correct or not, but I think we're just going to see there is an Annihilate. We're going to get rid of that Infernus. tatavath's going to take 1 here, going to go down to 5, and Combustion Cell was the draw for the turn for Bikespokes. but there's that Gear Cruncher coming down thanks to the 7 power, and yeah, that is a lot of Grenadin.
Setback used, free to play the Gear Cruncher, plus you have Infernus. He does have the Death Strike though. I don't know how he's getting past the Flamestoker. There you go.
Yeah, and we do see the scoopity doopity there. Congratulations to Bikespokes pulling out the win with the old drones.
Yes, and going into sideboards, he does have 2 Disjunction, so that's definitely coming in.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, that's a great call. Yeah, this disjunctions are gonna definitely need to come in. I don't really think probably some more of the devastating sitbacks. Rain of Frogs is interesting. Definitely want those permafrost too, right? Right? Yeah.
I don't know. That's questionable because they do have Devours and stuff like that.
No, I didn't.
So
I
not
was
that great.
Yeah, that was a non-serious remark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking over at Bikespokes, what do you think Bikespokes bringing in?
I think he has a bunch to take out in terms of like Madness and Combust. I could bring in the additional Flamestoker. I'm just trying to think what is like a lot of the stuff is good against other creature decks like Suffocate, Torch, Annihilate.
Well, so immediately I'm drawn towards definitely the Flamestoker, the Torn of Spiders. I'm liking a lot there. Like, how many cards are coming out? So 3 Madness and the Combust, so that's 7. All right, so then we're picking up 1 Torn of Spiders, so that's 2 cards. Maybe you're bringing in the Vara's Favor for a little extra life gain and removal, and then maybe the Torch and the Annihilates.
I do like Scrap Heap. Giving your unit your Grenadin in charge.
Oh yes,
trying to push through all the damage. You get to just pay 5 to put a Grenadin out. Any additional threats is just definitely needed against this.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely agree on the scrapping. So that would be 1, 2, 3.
I do like bringing 4, in the Torch just for any
5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I like for any reach.
Yeah, so like I think I would be bringing in as the Scrap Heap, the Torch of Spiders, the Flamestoker, the 2 Vara's Favor, the Torch, and 1 Annihilate. Because Annihilate and Suffocate are going to do very similar roles. Like I don't, except Annihilate's going to be instant speed and hit Gear Crusher. But yeah, so this will. I don't know. I'm excited. I have a feeling it's gonna play out very similarly to what we saw in round 1. But we'll see. Because I say that, but tatavath is going to be picking up quite a number, or like 2 more mass removal spells, a way to answer some of the relics that are coming in.
Yeah, Disjunction. You could bring in Sabotage, but really the only card you're looking to hit is the Flamestoker. So it's kind of questionable. You might want to bring Rain of Frogs in. Yeah. So you can hit the possible Flamestoker or even Gear Cruncher itself.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not. But I guess looking here, what's being taken out? Banish seems like that can go. That doesn't seem like it's doing too terribly much. Maybe some of the crucifixion. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a card.
Is it crucifixion or crucifixion? Let's have cruciation. All right, there we go. I can speak. I know words. Calm down, everybody. I got this. Looks like our players are in game, so let's jump in there.
It is just a one-of, so to just get a more consistent deck, you could just sharpen that up.
Yeah, and glancing over at tatavath, we do see, or I at least saw an Annihilate in there, so that'll be interesting. I think that got bottomed off of a crest. Bikespokes playing a Grenadin drone on their turn 1, of course, getting 2 Duders in play, gonna start beating down. That's a Sabotage being drawn for Bikespokes. Have to imagine it's going to take. What do you think? The Wisdom of Elders
could take that setback again, like we saw in the first game. There's a lot of potential here. You don't need to play it now because there's no threat of a setback coming down until turn 4, so you're pretty clear.
And this combustion cell also going to allow for scrap tank to be played next turn, which is pretty big. Granted, that gets cleanly answered by the feeding time. However, I do enjoy the ability to pump out a scrap tank on turn 3.
Yes, it's very good. It looks like he brought in Steward of the Past, which is interesting.
That's maybe he trimmed even more cards, and he was just like, I need to get as many threats as I possibly can.
Well, also being able to look at the deck list, he's the temporal deck's running Lumen Reclaimer, so that negates the Entomb effect.
Yes, it certainly does. Though I feel like the games aren't going to last long enough for the Reclaimer to actually like be interesting. And we do see that the sabotage is fired off, taking the scheme out of tatavath's hand.
Yeah. Looks like he had 2 setbacks and the feeding time, so just a lot of answers, rather just cut him off on card draw.
Which makes perfect sense. And we do see the quarry fired off for Bikespokes. Bikespokes finding a Gear Cruncher, now notably at 6 power. Are we going to see an attack in here? We are. Okay. So there goes the 2 Grenadin and tatavath sitting at 19 now. And we are going to see the scrap tank come down. Which is going to more than likely force the feeding time out of tatavath's hand.
Yeah, it eats the feeding time, makes it clear for Gear Cruncher, although you still got to play around the 2 setbacks. And there's also a Rain of Frogs that might just come and ruin this whole plan.
We're good. We're at least right now, right? And now we're at 5 power. Wow, look at all right. So we can play the Stone Scar Scraper. Do you play?
Yeah, I would like to play that rather than the Gear Cruncher now, because you can sack your Grenadins, draw some more cards, get some more in the graveyard for the Gear Cruncher.
Yeah.
Start the engine going.
Ooh, and there's that Torrent of Spiders. That won't be too terribly bad at all when it actually gets to that point. That's going to be a fantastic late game card. Bikespokes just need to avoid any sort of discard from tatavath. Granted, tatavath does have the setbacks in hand, so we'll see if that ends up clearing the field. Ooh, there's the Rain of Frogs. Goodbye, Gear Cruncher.
Yeah, it looked at first like he was going to play the setback, but he decides against that to play the Rain of Frogs.
Yeah, and I have to imagine the pick is Gear Cruncher here, right?
It makes the most sense. It's the most powerful card in his hand.
Well, and arguably what the deck is built around.
Yes, of course. and you have the 2 setbacks in hand to deal with any nonsense that gets played.
However, with tatavath being at 9 here and Bikespokes being at 24, it's going to be a hard road for tatavath no matter what. He's going to has the ability to take another, or he's going to end up taking a few more damage. And we do see the Flamestoker sitting on top, Steward of the Past getting into play. So we have, okay, so we're 1 off of lethal on board right now.
Yeah, I don't think this game is going to last much longer. Setback thrown here. The next turn, Flamestoker gets played, and I don't see, by the way, tatavath's hand shaping up, how he's going to recover from that.
Yeah, it would. So, I mean, he does have the extracts to buy him a little bit of time. And then if you found the extracts into a disjunction, then
yep,
there's some play there. And then you can get, it looks like he got rid of his temporal distortion. So
yeah, it's okay. Not going to go through to the end of the game.
Yeah, I was thinking that might be a way for him to stabilize after gaining a little bit, like if he can get control of the board, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's the 1 extract going, taking care of that Steward of the Past. Tatavath going to go up to 9 here.
Yep, and he bottomed a setback.
Very good call. All right, there's the Strategize. Ooh, that's a Lightning Storm. Not a bad draw. Last Whisper also drawn. However, Last Word also drawn, but that's going to be put to the bottom. We're going to see an attack in for 7 here. tatavath going to take it, going down to 2. He's going to be able to get himself back up to 5. That is not good enough. We'll see what Bikespokes ends up doing. Bikespokes, instead of playing the Stone Star Scraper, is going to play the assembly line, which will walk into the Lightning Storm, but I don't. Yeah, so actually, never mind. Torch is off the top. Yeah, that kind of does some stuff. tatavath actually would have been able to clear the board that turn.
Yeah, but the Flamestoker was still the big thing. You needed to draw a disjunction. And
Yeah,
that's
well,
really his only way
you
out.
know, there's, yeah, you know, yeah. All right, well, excellent. Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't think that matchup played out too much differently than what we expected, right?
No, not really. It's just too much pressure. Too much pressure from the Grenin deck. A lot of, it had its 2-for-1s with Setback and Lightning Storm, but it's just too much, too quick, and just runs over. And that Flamestoker really pushed it over the edge.
Yeah, man, love Flamestoker. Just getting a 5/5 every turn with Overwhelm, so nice. And then if you have Shepherd's Horn out, and then maybe like a Cold Aspirant, I don't know. Just throwing out little combos there,
Yeah, the Flamestoker is every control player's like worst nightmare. And like I'm a control player, and I'm like, oh, that's a stupid card. And
yeah, I forgot. But yeah, because you mentioned when you played Magic, you played a little bit of Dirtle Control. So I fully expected you to be on the temporal distortion side of things here.
Oh yeah, I love those type of decks. It's always interesting to play decks with like limited amount of creatures to negate, some of your opponent's deck where they don't have, they have creature removal but just dead against you. So making their deck less effective overall is always just a fun thing for me personally.
I played with Trading Post a little bit too much, so I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like all the matches are done, so I think we're going to cut over to a little bit of a break here, and then we should be back pretty quickly. Counterbob, anything you wanna say before we take our little break?
No, not right now. Maybe we come back. We can talk about last week's top 8 or any decks we're expecting. Think about that.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, we'll see you guys soon.